all the way over here. And then, okay, I'm gonna get a little glass of water.
I can sit here.
You're going to see. Good.
So how have the walnuts been? Good. Organic walnuts.
And there's fruit
They're
on the
there.
stage
If you
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
that
tasted
you're
the
welcome
walnuts,
to.
Please get up, enjoy them.
Yes.
so where do we begin? Where do you want to begin? How about beginning with what people always say to this is a good idea, but it's too expensive, and the corporate agricultural system is feeding people.
Oh, that's my favorite question. That's my favorite question, especially in the light of the health crisis that we're facing. I mean, just on that alone, the billions of dollars to take care of all the people who are diabetic and have the issues of obesity. I mean, it's just unimaginable. But it's the same way in terms of the environment, the destruction of the environment. Everything is just costing us. And we need to come back to our senses and decide that we're going to, pay to change, to educate children when they're young. And I think we have to begin in kindergarten. That's where we begin. And they're so open and sensitive and ready to take that. I mean, I've been working with kids in middle school for the last 20 years. And I can't tell you the kind of change that goes on when children are engaged with reconnected to nature. And at first, it's a little resistance. I don't want to get my shoes dirty and all of that. And within really a couple of weeks, they just are engaged. And that's what's happened at the Edible Schoolyard Project, is that we're using the lab of the garden and the lab of the kitchen classroom to teach every academic subject. And I think we just have to begin there in kindergarten, actually in preschool.
Well, that really, I mean, you touch upon the nature deficit disorder that really is present at all ages. And Alice, you've done such a wonderful job of bringing this to all ages. But you know what? You have to deal with the old fart farmers like me, too. We need new education. And we're using tremendous amounts of technology. As an organic farmer, first and foremost, I'm in the business. I can't be here tonight if I'm not profitable, and if I'm not taking care of the planet, and I'm not taking care of the people that work on the farm. But the opportunities that we have ahead of us to change are significant, and we have no choice. We're now at a conundrum where we have to change.
Well, I'm just, I think it's so abstract for people to hear about what's happening on the farm and to think about these ideas. It just kind of doesn't make sense in a fast food culture. And so we need to go out there to your farm. Mm-hmm. And I just can never forget when I went out to Craig's farm one time, because he said that I had to climb up and look at the baby owls in the owl box that was above. And I climbed up this ladder, this precarious ladder up to the top, and I looked in there. And it just took my breath away. I mean, all of these little tiny owls just all looking back at me, and I just immediately fell in love with them. I just couldn't I didn't want to come down.
But Alice, why were they there? The owls are there because we can't use pesticides to kill our rodents, and I've got to kill the gophers and the rodents if I want a crop. Owls will catch their weight in voles and moles and mice.
I had no idea how many do they have to catch a night to feed all those little babies?
A lot. A lot.
I mean, like, how many did you say? Like, something like each mother had to catch 25 or something like that. Can you imagine to feed those babies? But it's that kind of experience, and it's like eating something when you're young, and you taste something like a raspberry off the bush, and you're out there, and you just eat like that, and you want to go back there again, and you begin to see that you. That's why I call it a delicious revolution, because this isn't hard to do. Mm-hmm. We just have to create the circumstances within a school where students can actually feel it and smell it and listen to it and taste it, and then they want to go back again.
Yeah, we've really experienced that with high school kids. I love that high school time in our lives because it's a serious time. It's a time of tremendous growth, and to bring people out from all walks of life to the farm and to make that connection, it is truly a life-changing experience. And you know, almonds, as we said earlier, have become kind of the poster child. Well, walnuts could be there too, and you have to ask yourselves, why are we in this predicament today? Well, one of the things is you, the eaters, have asked us to produce high-quality protein foods, and we've done that. So we've eliminated some of our cotton, a lot of our cotton. We're eliminating some of our alfalfa across this state, and we're beginning to grow walnuts and almonds and higher value products so that we can do what you said early on, Alice, which is to have a profit and be profitable so we can send our kids to public education and afford the things that families need to do. So it's a very complex world, and I would encourage you to really search when you ask a question or when you formulate an opinion, to really think it through and engage in somebody who has the opposite opinion. I frequently am forced to do that, and it challenges us.
But, I was just going to say, though, that we're asking people to eat with intention.
Yes.
And when you do that, the rewards are so great. I mean, it's not like homework that you're struggling to do. You go to that farmer's market and you immediately feel good by being there, and you begin to engage with the people who are around and selling the food and being there, and then you buy things and you bring them home and you taste them, and you want to go back there again. And it is a complete learning experience. It's a way that you can win over just about everybody. So
it's April, and I want to change the subject slightly, because in my line of work, seniors start coming into my office in April, and I say, "What are you going to do next?" Mm-hmm. And they roll their eyes. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering how they're taking this course. They've taken courses in which they've seen what the situation of biodiversity is on the planet. They've taken courses in which they've seen what the problems of energy and climate are on the problem. How did you find your way to your work?
Really, by tasting. I went to France at this time when I was a student at Cal in my junior year, and I went to Paris, and I was very lucky because at that time in France it really was a slow food culture, and I felt like I'd never eaten before. I went and had a baguette and some apricot jam, and I just wanted that again the next day. And I was willing to stand in line and wait for it. And then I went to the little restaurants, and they were filled with friends of friends, and we would have this wonderful conversation at the table. And I came back home, and I wanted to live like the French. And so that's how it began. I mean, very naively. In terms of opening the restaurant, I thought, well, there's no place to eat in this town, and what if I opened a little restaurant? All my friends could come and eat there instead of at my house, and I could make money, and all of this. And of course, once I opened the restaurant, I never saw my friends again. Except I ended up hiring my friends. Now that was a beautiful thing, because everybody told me, never hire your friends, you know, what's going to happen when they don't do it right, you're going to have to fire them. But I never had that experience. I mean, I've just always loved working with people that I have a lot in common with.
You farmed for a couple of years. In the interview I said, and it practically broke you, and you found your way to walnuts.
Yeah, it was true. And the way I got to farming was in that tumultuous time of the early 70s. As you said, I left college. I was very disenfranchised. It was so difficult. And work. I worked on farms, on peasant farms through Mexico, through Central America, and through South America, and discovered that food is political. And for me, it brought these two worlds that seemed quite separate together. And I wanted to become a farmer, and went to Davis to study agriculture. And upon graduating, had a thin degree and no experience really to speak of. And I found the most wonderful mentor, Tan Lam, a Chinese farmer, who put me under his wing. Oh my goodness, I don't know why he did it. I made so many mistakes, as many mistakes as you could possibly make. And started a fresh produce operation right on Route 80 at Dixon. We were trucking produce into the wholesale terminals here in San Francisco and produce back east, and it just broke me as a beginning farmer. Now remember, the late 70s, there were very few farmers markets. There didn't exist CSAs. The idea of a chef like Alice was just getting going, and there wasn't a huge market for us, so we were getting killed in the marketplace. And I said, I want to be a farmer, but I've got to do it a different way. Something that's less perishable, fewer harvests a year, a commodity that I would have more control over. And I thought, gee, that's a walnut. I'd never even looked at a walnut tree before. So my wife and I purchased an orchard in 1980.